Hello, I'm Zulileaks, and welcome back to another patch notes video. The second one on the channel, because, you know, we're still in Season 1. But we're going to be looking at the balancing post for the Season 1.5 updates, which I know this is a little late. My apologies. My birthday was on the 21st, so I've been a little busy doing birthday stuff. But we're here now. We're going to take a look at the patch notes and see what's going on. Starting off with the Vanguards. Alright, Captain America. Steve will receive some enhanced survivability, his Vibranium Energy Saw will feel smoother, and his ultimate ability will be more attainable thanks to a reduced energy cost. Okay, he will now be able to shield himself while living legend mid-leap. Cool, so I believe that means he can block while in the air, which is pretty good for him because you actually had to release your block if you wanted to jump before. But now you can shield yourself mid-air, so you have a little bit more survivability in the air. So in addition to that being really good mobility and being harder to hit because you're, you know, sprinting and jumping around, if they do manage to hit you, you can actually block now. So nice bit of survivability for him. Increased Vibranium Energy Saw's projectile speed from 60 meters a second to 80 meters a second, with ricochets ramping up to 100 meters a second to supercharged 150. Alright, so his projectile just goes faster, so now if maybe enemies were running away from you, the shield wouldn't be able to catch up to them, or they would be able to get out of the range before, you know, the shield could hit them. But now, since it moves faster, that's going to be a lot harder to do, so it should make landing your energy saw more consistent, at least if people are trying to run away. If they're still fighting you, then they're still within range, then, you know, this really doesn't change much. Reduce the energy cost of Freedom's charge from 3100 to 2800. So yeah, just reduce the energy cost so you get your ultimate a little bit faster. Then enhance Captain America's combat experience by separating Sentinel Strike from melee attacks. Captain America will be able to use melee attacks while his shield is thrown, or during team-up ability charge Aegis state to activate the first two hits of Sentinel Strike. Additionally, while airborne, using melee attacks will no longer trigger the Super Soldier Sam ability. Wow. Okay, that actually changes. Okay, he's gonna feel so much better to play. He's gonna feel so much better to play. Alright, so now even while your shield is out, you can still punch things, which makes sense because you still got these hands, these weapons right here, you know, with Captain America. And you can melee in the air without doing your slam, which was actually one of my biggest complaints. So now if like there's an Iron Man or a Storm, or well, now most likely a Human Torch up in the air messing you up, if you can jump up there, you can actually hit them and do some damage, maybe scare them off, put some damage on them for a teammate to finish them off, you know. So yeah, Captain America got some good. I'm gonna have to check him out again. Actually, I think I'm gonna play with him after I get done making the guides for Human Torch and the Thing. I'm gonna try Captain America again, I think. All right, Doctor Strange. Our beloved Sorcerer Supreme will take a modest hit to his survivability, reduces base health from 650 to 600. All right, you have 50 less health, so you're a little less tanky. That's about it. I mean, there's a couple things in the game, or a couple DPS that are going to be able to now take you out with like one less shot. So yeah, just be careful, you know. Just know that you have 50 less health. Groot will be increasing the threat range of everyone's favorite Flora Colossus. Increased or less wall placement range from 15 meters to 18 meters. Alright, so now Groot can deploy his wall 3 meters further, so maybe now, like, if you're coming back from spawn or teammates in trouble and you're just a little bit further away, you can actually throw your walls up that little extra distance and maybe make some saves that you wouldn't be able to make before. Alright, so, yeah, nice little buff for him. Magneto. The Master of Magnetism will experience a slight dip in survivability, but will be compensated with a small surge in offensive ability. Okay. Now, Magneto's probably the tank I've put the most amount of time on so far. Alright, increase Iron Volley projectile damage from 350 to 40. Alright, so an extra 5 damage on his projectile. Cool. Ooh, pardon me. I just had breakfast. Increase Metallic Curtain's energy consumption from 50 seconds to 65 per second. Reduce its maximum duration from 2 seconds to 1.5 seconds. Ooh, okay. So yeah, he does have a little bit less survivability. Your shield now drains faster at 15 extra energy per second, and its max duration is no longer 2 seconds, it's 1.5 seconds. So now you have even less time to throw up your shield to make those saves and to protect your team. So you're really gonna have to time that for when the big damage is actually coming. I know a lot of characters have like charge up attacks and stuff, so just make sure you're not popping it early. Make sure you're waiting for the right moment to actually get the brunt of that damage in that 1.5 second pocket where you can really protect your team. So yeah, I mean, the 5 extra damage I really don't think is worth it. I think this is overall a big nerf to him. or not a big, but just a nerf to him. But we'll see. I'll have to put some more time on him and see how they really pan out. Alright, Thor, the Mighty Asgardian will offer a greater user experience after unleashing Awakening Rune, Unleash the Thunder. Remove the shared cooldown time after the duration of Awakening Rune ends. Alright, Thor players are going to be able to do some insane stuff with this, but also I think overall he's just going to feel a lot better to play. Like, the shared cooldown time just made him kind of feel clunky and not as, like, fluid as a lot of other heroes to play. And I think that's going to really fix this problem. So I do think really good Thors are going to be able to do some insane stuff now that that shared cooldown time isn't there. But, yeah, I think he's just going to feel a lot smoother, which is good. I like that change. Alright, Venom. Symbiote Menace will enter the fray more menacing than ever, with a heightened threat upon entering the battle and a leaner energy appetite for his ultimate ability. Alright, this I have seen, because this is actually a good change, I think, honestly. Okay, adjust the knockback effect of Frenzied Arrival from vertical to inward with an inward knockback angle of 75 degrees. So now instead of knocking them up and away, it knocks, or instead of just going up, it actually pulls them in. So in addition to doing like a good, just like quick chunk of damage, you can actually pull people towards you, which can set up, you know, kills for your teammate abilities, you know. If I see my Venom's going in and he pulls them in, and, you know, as a Moon Knight main, I can just, you know, use my ultimate on top, and he's going to pull them in and keep them in there for longer. So it's a great ult combo tool now, because it actually can displace, and you know where they're going to go, instead of just straight up, it pulls everybody to, like, a pinpoint location, or more to an exact location, you know. And the energy cost is actually reduced, so now instead of being 2,800, it's 2,500, so you're going to be able to get his ultimate back just a little bit faster. Overall, I don't think this is like a crazy change for him, but I do think it is going to help him quite a bit, because he can really help set his teammates up a lot more than he could before. Alright, now that's it for the Vanguard changes. Actually, pretty good changes for the tanks, not a lot of changes for the tanks, but yeah, Captain America definitely the winner for the Vanguards, I think. Gonna have to check him out some more. Alright, now to the duelist changes, which I didn't miss any, right? Okay, cool. Black Widow. Natasha's combat effectiveness has been enhanced, increasing the threat level to enemies after using her ultimate ability. Okay. Increase the magazine capacity of the Red Room rifle from 8 to 15. Oh, okay, so her rifle has like almost double ammo. Okay, so if you really, you can really keep up putting that damage, because now you can pretty much fire twice as much before you have to reload. So yeah, that's her damage is going to be a lot more consistent, because, you know, you don't have to stop to reload after 8 bullets. Now it's after 15, so you can put more out before you have to reload. So that's an interesting change. Pretty good. Enhance the slow effect of electroplasma explosion on enemies from 80% to 55%. Okay. Additionally, it will apply a 15% vulnerability effect to hit enemies for 4 seconds. Okay, so the slow isn't as bad. It went from an 80% slow to a 55% slow, so enemies are going to be able to get out of it sooner because they can move faster. You know, they don't move as slowly. But the 15% vulnerability effect is pretty nice. So they take, I'm assuming this means they take 15% more damage from all sources. It doesn't really specify, but that's what that's how I'm taking it. So please let me know down in the comments if I'm wrong about that. But yeah, okay, so that's going to be definitely more of a setup tool. Even more than it was before, even though the 80% slow pretty much guaranteed anything. If you had like an AoE ultimate that you were going to get at least a couple KOs, because they move at 20% speed. They weren't getting out of that. So now they can get out of it sooner, but they take more damage. So they have to be in the combo ults for a less amount of time to actually take them out, because they take more damage. Not sure how this is going to pan out, to be honest, because I don't really play a lot of Black Widow, and I don't really see a lot of Black Widow. But I am interested to see a higher level gameplay and like watching other, streamers and stuff play her and see how it pans out. I'll have to keep my eye on her. Next up, Hawkeye. We're sharpening Clint's survival instincts and honing his close quarters capabilities when his ultimate ability takes aim with greater peril. Or while his ultimate ability takes aim with greater peril. Okay, cool. Increase base health from 250 to 275. Alright, you get 25 extra health, so you're going to be a little bit more tankier. You might be able to take a couple extra bullets from the Punisher, or maybe one extra bullet from some of the other DPS heroes. Okay. Reduce projectile damage of Blast Arrow from 20 to 15, while the spell field damage will be increased from 25 to 32. Okay, so you do less damage for a direct hit, but you do more damage with the AoE of the actual explosion. So less of like a single target tool, but if you can hit multiple enemies grouped up with that explosion, you're gonna really get a lot more value out of the ability now. Alright, reduce the cooldown time for Crescent Slash from 15 seconds to 12 seconds. Alright, so you're gonna be able to get people off of you 3 seconds faster. You're gonna be able to use that ability a lot more. So yeah, your Get Off Me tool comes back a little bit faster. Pretty nice. And then increase the bow draw speed during the duration of Hunter's Sight and raise damage multiplier from 1.2 to 1.35. Okay, so you don't get to fire as many arrows because it takes longer to actually draw them. Or, you know, if you want to get the fully charged arrow, it's going to take longer to draw them. But when you do draw, you get a higher damage multiplier. So, yeah, I think that's a pretty alright change, actually. Okay, because it's going to be better for targeting specific targets because you do more damage. And you're going to be able to fire less max drawn arrows. So yeah, I think it's more of just like, I think you're still going to be able to do as much damage, if not more damage overall, but you're just going to have to pick your targets a bit more wisely, I think, because you're not going to get to fire as many arrows, and you're not going to be able to target as many people. But overall, I think pretty decent changes. Hela, the Asgardian Goddess of Death, will cast a longer shadow with an increase to her mid to long range suppression. Okay. The damage fall off for Knight's Sword Thorn at 30 meters will be changed from 70% to 80%. Alright, so after 30 meters, you do 10% less damage now because of the damage fall off. Which, I mean, I don't really think it's enough to like change where Hela's at. Because a lot of the times and a lot of the maps, you're going to be within those 30 meters, so the damage fall off isn't going to matter anyways. And even if it does, it's only 10%, and if you're still getting your headshots, you're still melting people. So, yeah, you know, it is a nerf, but I think if they're trying to, like, correct her and really move her down some spots in the tier list or something, or the usage spots, you know, they're going to have to do something a little bit more drastic. I'm not saying they need to either. I'm just saying if that's what they're going for, they're going to need to do something more drastic. But after this, I don't see, the amount of Helas I see in my lobby will not be affected by this change. That's, I think, the best way I can put it. Now we got the longest one here, so far, I think. Iron Fist. Lin Li will bring fresh techniques to the martial arts mix, enhancing his Yatji Kung Queen. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I know I pronounced that terrible. Okay. But that move, with both fortitude and finesse. Alright. Reduce the damage of Jeet Kune Do's first, second, and fifth strikes from 32 to 30, while the third and fourth strikes will deal 15 damage instead of 16. The final devastating sixth hit has been dialed back from 55 to 50. The cooldown reduction for Dragon's defense has been extended from 1 second to 1.5 seconds. The damage of each hit from that move will take a hit, dropping from 19 to 10 flat damage, including during Living Chi. Okay. However, each strike from that move again now delivers an extra blow, dealing damage equal to 1.7% of the opponent's maximum health. Okay. Man. You know, I don't write these. I kind of just read it and explain it. But that one, I might need a second to sit on. Okay, so let's break this one down. This one we're going to have to break down. Okay, the first, second, and fifth hit strikes go from 32 to 30. Okay, so that's 6 less damage total. While the third and fifth strikes deal 15 instead of 16. So that's 6 less, so that's 8 less damage total. The final devastating sixth hit has been dialed back from 55 to 50. So that is 13 less damage, if my math is correct. Okay. The cooldown reduction for Dragon's defense has been extended from 1 second to 1.5 seconds. So you're doing 13 less damage with his main combo, with his primary fire. And the cooldown reduction for Dragon's defense has been extended, so now it takes half a second. It's pretty much 50% longer for Dragon's defense now. Okay, the damage of each hit from his from that move will take a hit, which I believe that's his rapid strikes move, if I am correct. Nope, come on. Yeah, this is his rapid strikes. Okay, cool. Alright, just double checking, making sure I'm clicking the right ability. Okay, dropping from 19 to 10 flat damage per hit. So now his rapid punches do pretty much half damage. Okay, however, each strike will now deal an extra blow, dealing equal damage to 1.7. I'll have to make up like a formula, use my old algebra, my AP algebra knowledge from like 10 years ago. But, yeah, I think this is an overall nerf. Now, I'm kind of stupid when it comes to math, when on the fly. You know, I gotta use my calculators and my knowledge, right? But, I'm pretty sure this is a nerf. The 1.7% of the maximum health is going to make him better at busting tanks, though, because that's, you know, obviously you're going to be doing more damage per hit because tanks have a higher maximum health. So he'll be a little bit better for tank busting, but I think against squishies, he's going to be doing less damage for sure. Okay. Increase the maximum or additional maximum health granted by Harmony Recovery from 50 to 150. A new decay mechanism for the extra health has also been introduced. 1 second after the ability ends, the additional health will deplete at a rate of 25 health per second. Okay, so he can give himself 150 bonus health by meditating instead of 50, but he only gets to keep that for 1 second plus 25 health per, or plus an extra second per 25 health he got. So that's a minimum of 2, 4, 6, 7 seconds if you get 150 charge. Okay. So he can keep his bonus health for 7 seconds, but he gets more. So if you really just, I think it's going to be better now for hitting your meditate before like a big push, or getting a good angle like on a flank and then hitting your meditate and waiting for them to like come to you, pretty much like setting up beforehand and then just rushing them as soon as possible after your meditation, so you can really make advantage or take advantage of that that bonus health. Increase the maximum bonus health converted from damage blocked during Dragon's defense from 150 to 200. So now if you block stuff with Dragon's defense, you get more health back. And increase base health from 250 to 300. Okay, so overall, I do think he got nerfed because he does less damage to squishies and to DPS, but he does, I think, overall a bit more damage to tanks. Probably not much more, but a little bit more damage to tanks. But he has more survivability because he gets more health back from Dragon's defense, and he has that extra 50 base health. So I think Iron Fist, I think these are some interesting changes. I think we are going to need to see how this pans out, because are the damage reduction and the survivability a good enough offset to be a nerf? Because if he's getting, you know, heals from Dragon defense and heals from, you know, 1 or maybe 2 of the healers plus the increase to his base health, it might not matter that he's doing a little bit less damage because he's going to be able to survive longer and just, you know, kill you anyways. So this, I think, is overall is a nerf, but I'm interested to see how this pans out, honestly. I'm interested to see where Iron Fist lands, like, at the end of this season, you know, right before Season 2 starts. Alright, Iron Man, the one and only. Tony will crank up the heat with his Unibeam, ensuring that even without Gamma Overdrive, foes will feel the burn. Increase Unibeam damage from 127... Increase Unibeam damage from 120 per second to 140 per second. Increase Unibeam armor overdrive damage from 180 per second to 190 per second. Alright, so this is just a straight up buff for Iron Man. His Unibeam does more damage. So if you like Iron Man, you like using the Unibeam, you're going to be able to get more value out of it. Nice to see that for him. Oh, no. I knocked my phone off my desk. Oops. I will now move that. Alright, Magic. The Queen of Limbo will see her damage capability be slightly reduced, but the energy cost to unleash her ultimate ability will be slightly lowered. It's time to behold Darkchild. Decrease the damage dealt by Demon's Rage, regular state, from 80 per second to 72 per second. Okay. Reduce the energy cost for Darkchild ultimate ability from 3,700 to 3,400. I mean, overall, I think this is a nerf because, you know, most of the time when you're playing, you're not going to be in Darkchild form, so you're going to have to sit with that slight damage decrease. Actually, it's a 10% damage reduction because it went from 80 to 72. But you're going to have to deal with that damage reduction most of the time. But you do get your ultimate more often, and depending on how, you know, the Magic player and how good they are and when they use it, getting your ultimate ability might be better than having that damage, because if you can really make advantage or take advantage of your ultimate using it at, you know, good situations, you're getting a couple really good picks or, you know, team wipes and stuff, you're like really doing good with it, you'll be, you know, making more plays and making more stuff happen than if you had that extra, you know, 8 damage per second. So I do think this is a good change for her. I think getting your ultimate back more is going to be good. Alright, Mr. Fantastic. Reed will stretch his nuisance factor with a greater impact from his ultimate ability. Alright, I did see some of this stuff. and hopefully they've made him a bit better. Alright, increase the spell field radius after landing from flexible elongation from 2.5 seconds to 5 meters. Wow, okay. Additionally, flexible elongation will now feature a knockback effect, launching enemies outward within the area upon landing. Okay. The recharge time for a single use of flexible elongation will be adjusted from 8 seconds to 10 seconds. Okay. Increase the damage of Brainiac Bounce, the ultimate ability spell, from 50 to 70. Okay. Increase the energy cost from 2,800 to 3,400. Okay. Additionally, a new damage decay mechanism will be introduced. Spellfield damage will begin to decrease starting at 3 meters and will reach a maximum reduction of 50 at 10 meters. Okay. When it says maximum reduction of 50, does that mean it does 50 less damage at 10 meters? Okay. Let's go over this. Increase the spell field radius after landing from flexible elongation from 2.5 meters to 5 meters. Now, flexible elongation is the one where the belly bump, where you give them shield, correct? I'm double checking. Flexible elongation, it is. Okay. So now, that should make it a lot more consistent, because sometimes if you grab onto a teammate or something and they're moving quickly, it'll stop you where they originally were when you press the ability, but they would sometimes have moved so quickly that they would be out of the radius of your spell field. So this should make that a lot more consistent, which is cool. And now it has a knockback effect, launching enemies outward within the area upon landing. So now if you grab enemies, it knocks them back. I'm gonna have to test that out. I wonder how long or how far the knockback is, because depending on how far it is, that could be a boon or a hindrance depending on the situation. So we'll see. And then the recharge time for one of your charges is 2 seconds longer, which I think is just, a nerf, because now it takes 2 extra seconds to get a use back, so you're gonna have less uses overall in a match, because those every 2 seconds are gonna add up. So you're gonna be able to use that less. But I do like the consistency change where the extra, doubling the spell field should make that buff land a lot more consistently. So, increase the damage of Brainiac Bounce from 50 to 70. Cool. Increase the energy cost, so there's more damage. So instead of getting, because you get 6 bounces, which is 300 damage, instead of getting 300 damage, you'd get 350, I think. Increase the... Wait, no. You do 300 damage, you do... Yeah, math is hard. You know what? Calculator time. Listen, I don't have to do all this math. They were like, you never have a calculator in your pocket. Oh, yeah? At least I'm pretty sure it's... Okay, I'm gonna have to double check his amount of bounces. I'm pretty sure it's 6 times, correct? Oh, it's 14 damage per leap now. Okay. Yeah, 6 leaps. Cool. I was right. So now, 420 damage. Math is hard. Stay in school. Alright, so it does 420 damage now, overall. So that's actually a pretty big increase in damage. But it takes much longer to get it. And then the fall off now, you really need to be landing on people, because if they're at the edges of the of your Brainiac Bounce at the end of your radius, they're only going to be taking 20 damage at 10 meters. So, yeah. I think overall, pretty interesting changes for him, because I really thought he needed help. I was under the impression that a lot of people found him to be underwhelming. I liked him, but I didn't really think he was that great. Like, I was not... gonna switch any of my mains over to start playing Mr. Fantastic. But I think the consistency with the flexible elongation is gonna be nice. I think that adding the knockback could be interesting, though I'll have to get in-game and actually test it out to see what I really think about it. And the extra 2 seconds for a charge back is, a bit of a nerf, because it takes longer to get your charges back. The extra damage for Brainiac Bounce is pretty nice, especially if your teammates really set you up and do something that can keep them all grouped up. Or like right now, the Thing just came out. A great example is the Thing can use his ultimate to hit a bunch of them to stun, which pretty much guarantees a couple Brainiac Bounces like right on the dot, which is good because with the damage fall off, you really need to be landing on people or getting people as close to the center of your ultimate as possible to get the most value out of it, because if you're moving all over the place or they're dodging a lot and they're, you know, only clipping them with the ultimate, you're going to be doing drastically less damage. And it's going to cost a lot more to get your ultimate back, so, you know, you're going to be using your ultimate less per match because it takes more resources to get it. So when you do use it, you need to get more value out of it since you're not going to be able to use it as often. So, interesting changes for Mr. Fantastic, but I don't think they're crazy though, but we'll see. The ultimate changes are going to be interesting. You're really going to have to use teamwork, honestly. Now we have Moon Knight, my main man, The Hand of Khonshu will offer improved reaction times for foes and an optimized damage logic. Reduce the Hand of Khonshu's Talon's falling speed, so now your Talons fall slower in your ultimate, and corrected the damage trigger logic for Hand of Khonshu. The previous mechanism that dealt 75 damage when positioned at the center of the spell field has been removed, increasing the damage of each hit from 75 to 150. So yeah, you're going to be doing more damage now because instead of doing 75 damage per hit, you do double that, which is 150. But since your Talons fall slower, enemies are going to be able to get out of there quicker. Or, well, not get out of there quicker, but they're going to be hit less because the Talons are falling slower, if that makes sense. Like, from the time you pop the ability to the time they get out of it is going to be the same, but since the damage actually comes at a slower rate because the Talons fall slower, they're not going to be hit as much. I know a lot of people have been saying this has been a nerf, but to me, I don't know. Because you do more damage when you actually do hit a Talon. And most of the time with Moon Knight, the Talons, there was like kind of like a brief delay between you like opening the portal and the Talons falling anyway. So unless you had a teammate set up for it anyways, a lot of the time they'd be able to get out before anyone died anyways. So a lot of the time I would just hold on to my ultimate until I knew my tank or my support had something going and they could, you know, stun or set it up for me. And then, you know, you'd wipe the board. So I really don't see this as a nerf. More of just you really need someone to set it up or help you set up your ultimate for you, because if you just raw dog your ultimate and throw it out, they're going to be able to get out before, you know, they take a lot of damage because the Talons fall slower. So yeah, if you're playing Moon Knight, just make sure someone can set up your ultimate for you, or you use it in a super enclosed space. Which, I've seen a lot of Moon Knights not really do that as well. But if you're in like side of a room or a building or something, as long as the spell field is level with the ground and it's not like in a weird spot where it's like above or below someone, because that can kind of be a little funky. As long as the spell field is even with them, inside of buildings are great because they're going to have to look for a hallway or a doorway specifically to get out. And, you know, your team can target those choke points and can block them or throw abilities down to keep them or pull them, you know what I mean? So you just got to be smarter with his ultimate ability. And yeah. Scarlet Witch. We're boosting her survivability when unleashing her ultimate ability, gaining an additional 100 bonus health upon activating Reality Erasure. After the ability ends or is interrupted, this bonus health will decay at a rate of 50 per second. Okay, so you get 100 bonus health while you're activating your ultimate, which makes you a little bit more tanky, so if people are trying to target you while you throw it out, you'll be able to survive a couple extra hits. But if you get interrupted or when you use your ability, you lose that bonus health in 2 seconds. Now, this is an interesting change. I do think making her tankier while activating her ultimate is pretty interesting, but I don't think 100 is enough, because off the top of my head, pretty much like most DPS are going to be able to melt that extra 100 bonus health pretty quickly. Now, if you use her ultimate smart and you're activating it around corners and then coming around at the last second, or you're doing it while the enemy team is stunned or while they're distracted by, you know, your tanks or whatever, this really isn't going to change much anyways, because if they're stunned or distracted, they're not shooting at you anyways. And if everyone's already, like, on the mindset of we're just going to target her immediately, that 100 bonus health is not going to save you from getting shredded. So, I mean, I think it's a step in the right direction. I just think it needs to be a bit more. Spider-Man. We're slightly reducing the Web Cluster cooldown to increase his offense. Reduce Web Cluster Energizer time from 3 seconds to 2.5 seconds. You get your ability back a half a second faster. You can use it more, do more stuff. Pretty good change. Star-Lord. Peter's mobility is getting a stellar upgrade. Increase rocket propulsion's maximum energy from 1200 to 1800. Okay, so they increased his the capacity of his jets by 50%. So yeah, you have a lot more mobility now. You can pretty much move like half as longer now. So that's, if you're a solo player, you're probably pretty happy with that. You're gonna be able to move around maps a lot faster and a lot further. So Storm, we've toned down her Tempest from long range and recalibrated her bonuses, offering less of a boost to herself but more to her allies in the Eye of the Storm. Okay, the damage fall off for Windblade at 30 meters will be changed from 70% to 60%, so after 30 meters you do 10% less damage because of the damage fall off. Reduce Storm's damage increase from Thunder during weather control from 16% to 12%, so now during her damage buff she only gets 12% extra damage instead of 16, so she does less damage while damage buffing. However, the damage increase for allies within the range has been increased from 8% to 10%. So yeah, so she does less damage with her damage buff, but now she buffs allies even more. So if your Storm is playing with you and they're in damage buff mode, you get an extra 10% damage, which is a nice even number and is great for calculations. So I appreciate it. Reduces Storm's damage increase from Enhanced Thunder during weather control from 30% to 25%. Alright, so during the Enhanced version, she does 5% less damage. Instead of getting a third extra damage, it's a quarter extra damage. So yeah, her personally, she took a bit of a damage decrease from the fall off of her primary fire and just getting reduced percentage increases from her damage buff. But she does buff her allies a bit more, so I think those are actually pretty good changes. It makes the Storm player, sure, a little less effective, but she really holds up, you know, more of her team. And, like, just looking at it numbers-wise, what's more, like, what's better? Storm herself doing 4% more damage, or, you know, the other 5 people on her team doing 2% more? You know, you get an extra 10% by buffing your teammates, even if you do lose the 4% yourself, so I think she's still going to be a pretty strong contender. Strategists. We are almost done. We got some team up ability stuff, though. We are at the final stretch. I know these videos are super long, but I like to go in depth on these. I like to actually read them and understand the changes and stuff. So if you made it this far, 31 minutes into the video, go ahead and subscribe. You've watched for half an hour, man. Like, you must like the sound of my voice or something. Or I'm good at doing this or something. I don't know, but if you made it this far, thank you. And leave a comment letting me know if you've made it this far, 30 minutes in, because my audience retention is pretty terrible. So let me know if you actually made it here. If you're hearing this, you're probably pretty rare. But strategist, okay. Adam Warlock. Adam's damage capability will be enhanced, along with a slight increase in healing ability after activating Soul Bond. Increase the damage of Quantum Magic from 55 to 60. Additionally, the damage fall off at 40 meters will be changed from 50% to 60%. Okay, so you do 5 more damage, but if you're past the fall off range of 40 meters, you do less, which makes sense. So you just need to be, you know, closer and just more within your effective range. Increase the healing amount provided by Soul Bond to linked allies from 10 per second to 15 per second. Oh, they increased that by 50%. So yeah, he can definitely do a bit more healing and a bit more damage, which is what I like to see, because I feel like Adam Warlock is one of the weaker supports right now, and I'm glad to see he's getting a little bit of love. I think he needs a little bit more love, but I'm glad to see that they're paying attention to him. They're keeping an eye on him. Cloak and Dagger. Survivability and healing ability during the activation of her ultimate ability will be increased, while the frequency, duration, and intensity of the ultimate ability reduced. Additionally, Tyrone's threat level will be enhanced. Okay. Increase the energy cost to activate Eternal Bond from 3,400 to 4,000. So they increased the required charge by 600, so you need more ultimate to actually activate your ultimate. The healing amount of each segment will be increased from 220 per second to 250 per second. So now each dash does 30 more healing per second. Okay. The duration will be reduced from 10 seconds to 8 seconds. So it heals more, but in a shorter duration. So it's more of like, it's more bursty, but you know, 8 seconds is still quite a good duration per line. And the pause time between segments decrease from 1 second to 0.67 seconds. Now what I think they mean with that is like how you do a line and you kind of wait and it lets you like pick your direction. That time is decreased. Instead of being a second in between dashes, now it's 0.67 seconds. So, you know, you get to do each dash a little bit faster. Now, the healing effect from each segment will not stack while overlapping. Only one healing effect is applied. Now, that's the killer right there. Because the whole strategy a lot of people used with Cloak and Dagger was just stacked the same streak over and over and over, so instead of being 220 healing per second, it would be 660 healing per second. But now, with this change, that does not happen anymore. I want to reiterate this, because I know a lot of newer players watch these videos. You cannot stack her ultimate anymore, okay? So, it does 250 healing per second. If you do that on all three on the same spot, you're still only getting 250 healing per second. So now, instead of using it to make one really tight area super safe, you should spread it out more and make a wider area safe, because there's no benefit to stacking anymore. So you might as well try to cover the whole control point. But I think that's the way you should be using it now. Additionally, camera control is unlocked during the activation of Eternal Bond. So with the, I think that's just to make it feel a lot better, because now you have less time to actually aim your second streak. But with it being unlocked, once you pick that direction, you can start turning your camera so you have it pointed the right direction you want when the next streak triggers. Okay, increase the vulnerability inflicted on enemies by Terror Cape from 20% to 28%. Okay. I actually quite like that. So now if you hit somebody with the vulnerability debuff with Terror Cape, which I'm not sure what the keybind is because I haven't played Cloak and Dagger in a minute. I've been playing Invisible Woman. But yeah, so now if you're playing as a DPS or a tank and you see your Cloak and Dagger apply the vulnerability, know that you do almost 30% extra damage to them, and you should target them. Because if they hit a squishy with that, you can just melt them, man. So yeah, I think those are, definitely less of like a support buff for her, or for Cloak and Dagger for them, because not being able to overlap your streak is a big hit. That is a really big hit. They are objectively way worse now. Not being able to make that one area pretty much invulnerability time, but kind of more utility, because now if you're in Tyrone and you throw your damage vulnerability on someone, you can really melt them down. So a little less support, but a little more utility. I do think we're going to be seeing less Cloak and Daggers. I don't think they're terrible now, and I still think that they can output a crazy amount of healing, and in the right hands and with someone that really understands their kit, it's still probably the best healer. But yeah, a big hit to Cloak and Daggers. There's a lot of casual players, myself included, crying right now. Just kidding. Supports needed a hit. The supports were too strong. So I'm nice seeing that a couple of them are getting hit. Reducing the frequency of her ultimate ability for Invisible Woman. Increasing the energy cost of Invisible Boundary from 4,000 to 4,300. Yeah, so basically, it requires more ultimate to get your ultimate, so you'll probably be using it less per match. So instead of needing 4,000 ultimate energy to trigger, you need 4,300. So yeah, just less frequent ultimate use. Loki, reducing the Trickster God's ultimate ability frequency while slightly enhancing his survivability. Increase the energy cost of God of Mischief, the ultimate ability, from 3,400 to 4,000. So now you're going to be using ultimate less frequency because it's going to cost, an extra 600 ultimate to actually use it. And increase the mystical missile charges from 10 to 12. So you get more charges to your ability, you can put more healing. And yeah. Alright, so pretty decent changes for him. Luna Snow, reducing her ultimate ability frequency, increasing the energy cost to activate Fate of Both Worlds from 4,000 to 4,500. Yeah, so it looks like a lot of the support changes have to do with the ultimates. It looks like they nerfed the support ultimates probably to counter the triple support issues we've been having. But yeah, just if you're a support player, just know that overall it's going to just take a lot more to use your ultimate. But now we have the final section of the patch notes, which are the team-up abilities. Okay. Atlas Bond will be enhancing the capability of Luna Snow's side of this team-up ability, increasing the healing amount of Frozen Chi from 50 to 75, and the slow effect on enemies from 20% to 30%. Cool. So when you use Luna Snow's team-up with Iron Fist, you heal an extra 25 more, and enemies are slowed by 30% instead of 20% now. So pretty good changes. Dimensional Shortcuts. We're increasing the sustained combat capabilities of Black Panther and Psylocke. Reduce the rewind time for Psionic Disc from 5 seconds to 3 seconds. Additionally, the conversion ratio of lost health to blue armor will be increased from 0.5 to 0.8. So a little bit more tankier, and you can use it more often because the cooldown is cut by 2 seconds. And reduce the rewind time for Wakandan Master from 5 seconds to 3 seconds. Once again, you can use it more often because they reduce the time. Additionally, the conversion ratio of lost health to blue armor will be increased from 0.5 to 0.8. Alright, cool. So their team up is just overall just better. Cool. Gamma Charge. We're reducing the damage capabilities of Gamma Overdrive. The Hulk's benefits from the team up. Reduce the Unibeam Gamma Overdrive damage from 220 per second to 200 per second. Okay. Interesting. So yeah, it looks like Iron Man's actual Gamma Overdrive version is a little bit weaker. Reduces the Hulk's team up anger health bonus from 150 to 100. So now, just for having the team up, just 50 less health instead of getting 150 extra, you get 100. So a little bit less tankier for the Hulk. See, they knew the thing was coming. They're like, we got to make the odds a little more even for this legendary rivalry, you know. And then Luna Force, we're enhancing Moon Knight's survivability after using the team up ability. Full New Moon effect. Alright, continuously heal Moon Knight for 25 health per second while within the affected area. Ooh, as a Moon Knight main, I'm excited for this. So now you're telling me when I'm in the invisible aura, which wasn't really an invisible aura, because if you see the darts coming out of it, it's so tiny that every person is just going to shoot into it anyways, or use an AoE, so it doesn't matter, they can't see me. They know where I'm at, because I'm in the tiny purple circle. But now I heal, so I can actually sit in there for a little bit longer, maybe dodge some fire, and actually heal. So that's pretty... I like that. I'm actually really excited for that, because my buddy mains Cloak and Dagger, and I main Moon Knight, so we're going to be using this one a lot. So I will get back to you guys on that. Symbiote Bond. Penny Parker and Spider-Man will enjoy enhanced survivability thanks to suit/armor expulsion enhancements. Reduce Spider-Man's suit expulsion duration from 4 seconds to 1 second. Okay. Replace the 50% damage reduction effect with a new invincibility effect during this duration. Okay, so you get like a second of invincibility. That's not a lot, but if you time that correctly, that's really going to be able to save you. And then reduce Penny Parker's armor explosion duration from 4 seconds to 2 seconds. Reduce the 50% damage reduction effect with a new invisibility effect during this duration. Okay, so same thing, but Penny gets it for 2 seconds. Alright, yeah. Okay, so you're going to be able to do less damage, I believe, if I know this team up correctly. Let me go to Penny. Team up. Armor expulsion. Okay, yeah, so it's going to be less of like a damage ability and more of a use this for invincibility. I mean, it still has a duration, so you're still going to be able to do, like, it's what, 50 damage on activation and 50 damage per second. So you're still going to be able to get at least 100 damage from Spider-Man and 150 from Penny Parker. But I think the real utility from this ability is going to be more about saving yourself with that invincibility. But since it still does damage, you can use that invincibility, like, offensively. Because if someone is trying to hit you with something, you pop that, you tank through it with your invincibility during that duration, and you still damage them. And when it ends, you know, you have that extra, 100 damage on them that they don't have on you. So, pretty interesting changes. A lot of these I'm kind of mixed on. Like, I don't think there's a lot of these people you could be like, oh, this is a buff. Oh, no, this is a nerf. But I feel like a lot of these are kind of in the middle. Like, they got some good stuff, some bad stuff. Overall, I think this is a pretty interesting patch. And I'm excited to see how this changes things up in my ranked games. I'm really excited to test out the new Moon Knight Ultimate stuff, see how that feels, But I'm Zululix, and thank you for sitting with me for 45 minutes almost. Well, before editing anyways. 45 minutes before editing with me to the end of this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this little patch notes breakdown. If you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like and subscribe to the channel for everything Marvel Rivals. This week, the schedule is going to be the, this breakdown today for the patch notes. Wednesday will be some Thing online matches, some gameplay with the Thing, and then Friday will be the Thing guide. So, yeah. If any of that sounds interesting, subscribe, leave a like, and yeah, I'm Zululix, and I'll see you in the next video.